All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at excerpts from this book, From Struggle to Success: The Power of Perseverance.
Ooh, interesting title.
Yeah, and we wanted to kind of like zero in on this idea. I don't know, kind of like a blunt statement: no one cares until you win. So
Yeah.
we're going to unpack that a little bit. Is it cynical? Is it true? Is it both?
Yeah, a little bit of both, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
So just to kind of like set the stage here, this book, it's all about perseverance. It's all about kind of like pushing through those tough times and, ultimately achieving success, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that it really kind of like hits on is this idea that, when you're struggling, when you're kind of in the thick of it, it can feel like no one's really paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
And they actually say in the book, people ignore you when you're struggling. They admire you when you succeed.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty accurate observation about like human nature in a way, right?
Yeah.
We tend to kind of gravitate towards success stories,
Right.
towards people who have, already achieved something great.
And the book really, it almost like uses that bluntness as almost like a motivational tool.
Right.
It's like, hey, no one's going to hand you the keys to success. You have to earn it. And often that means, pushing through those tough times, even when it feels like no one's watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's really about, kind of like pushing through until that moment when they ask how you did it, as the book puts it, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like that external validation kind of becomes the reward itself in a way.
Yeah, and that's a really interesting point to bring up. While that desire for recognition can be a really powerful motivator,
Right.
I think it's also important to consider like what happens when that external validation fades
Yeah.
or if it never comes at all,
Right.
Like true perseverance, the kind that leads to like lasting fulfillment, often has to be rooted in something deeper, something like more intrinsic to who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a belief in yourself and your abilities.
So it's like, how do we cultivate that internal drive then? Like, is that something we're born with, or is it something we can kind of develop over time?
That's a great question. And I think it's probably a little bit of both, honestly. Some people naturally have like a higher tolerance for risk and setbacks. They're just kind of wired that way.
Yeah.
But I also think that perseverance is a skill, like a muscle you can strengthen through practice, It's about, like setting goals that truly resonate with you, not just chasing after what, other people deem successful.
And that makes me think about, just the pressure to succeed in general.
Yeah.
Like, especially in today's world. Right?
Yeah.
It feels like we're constantly bombarded with images of people like winning in every aspect of their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make it even harder to kind of stay focused on our own path, on what like truly matters to us?
I think absolutely it does. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so easy to get caught up in like comparing ourselves to others and measuring our worth by, external metrics like likes and followers and job titles.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's a recipe for burnout and just general dissatisfaction.
Yeah.
And I think what this book is really trying to get us to do is to shift that focus inward, to define success on our own terms, even if it looks different from what society might expect.
So I guess even though this quote, no one cares until you win, it might sound kind of cynical at first glance. Maybe it's also kind of a call to action, like
Yeah.
a reminder to stay true to ourselves, stay true to our goals, regardless of the external noise.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. It's about, recognizing that the journey itself, the struggles, the lessons learned, they're just as valuable as the end result. And often it's in those challenging moments where we discover our true strength and resilience.
Yeah, that's a really powerful takeaway. So I guess, while it's natural to want recognition, to crave validation,
Sure.
maybe the real key is finding that balance between, that external validation and that internal drive, right?
Yeah.
And maybe in the process of pursuing our own definition of success, we inspire others to do the same.
Yeah, I love that. It's not just about like winning, it's about becoming the best version of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Embracing the journey with all of its ups and downs.
Well, this has been a really fascinating deep dive. I really appreciate your insights on this.
Yeah, of course.
But we'd love to kind of leave our listeners with a question to ponder. What truly motivates you? Is it that external validation? Is it that internal drive? Or is it kind of like a blend of both? Right. It's something to think about as you continue on your own path to success.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, well, we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
See ya.
Bye ya.